Hey YouTube, this is Primetime Pokemon. In this video, I'll be doing some Pokemon TCG online gameplay. I'll be battling with the third place deck from the Denver Regional Championships. It would be a Celebi and Venusaur GX deck. Now I did mention this in a previous video, but the last league challenge that I went to, I brought a Vileplume and Hoopastall deck, and then a friend of mine actually played a very similar deck to what I'm using in this video. Both of our decks placed in the top 8 at the Denver Regional Championships. So I'll head on over to the online TCG, give the general strategy for the deck, and then get into battling. So here's a look at the deck checklist on the online TCG. General strategy with this deck is pretty straightforward. You want to use Celebi and Venusaur GX as your primary attacker and then heal as much damage as possible between each turn. That way your opponent cannot knock out Celebi and Venusaur GX in one attack and get those 3 prize cards. So here's a look at the main attacker, 270 for the HP, which is very good. All 3 moves on this card are pretty decent. Pollen Hazard for 3 energy cards does 50 damage, plus it burns, confuses, and poisons the defending Pokemon. Solar Beam can do 150 damage, add that Choice Band that's in this deck list, and it does 180. And then Evergreen GX does 180, plus it heals all damage from this card. Shaman in this deck, 3 copies of it. You can put this card on the bench and its ability will heal 20 damage from your active grass type Pokemon. So if you have all 3 Shaman set up, 60 damage per turn can be healed from Celebi and Venusaur. 42 trainer cards in this list. Most are in the deck either for draw support or for healing damage on Celebi and Venusaur. Mixed Herbs is a good way to do that. It not only removes special conditions, but if you play 2 of these cards, heals 90 damage. Potion, of course, just heals 30 damage. Aether Paradise Conservation Area actually reduces attacks against basic grass type Pokemon by 30. Life Force Prism Star heals 60 damage and removes all special conditions. And then Gardenia will heal 80 damage. And then Choice Helmet down here. If a GX Pokemon is attacking, the attacks are reduced by 30. 7 total energy cards in this deck. 11 total energy cards in this deck. 7 grass. And then 4 double colorless. And that is the one thing with this particular deck. Getting energy into your hand is a little bit difficult, especially the double colorless energy. You can go and get grass energy with the net ball, 4 copies of that card. So let's head on over to Versus and see what's out there. I have taken down a few different decks with this particular deck. Battles are a little bit longer, just because you're healing so much damage from Celebi and Venusaur. Let's go Tails here. I lost it, no surprise. You do have a 50-50 shot at winning the coin flip. It seems like I have a lot worse of luck than that. Mulligan turn 1 to start the game. Same thing goes for my opponent. There's a Shaman and another Shaman. My opponent is playing a Lightning type deck, probably some type of Pikachu and Zekrom or a Zapdos. They have Zeraora on the sleeves and deck box, could be using Zeraora GX as well. So I'll put out a Shaman and another Shaman, that way if they want to Guzma, it will make no difference. So there's a Jirachi. This Celebi and Venusaur deck is pretty good against a deck like Zapdos and Pikachu and Zekrom. Just because it does take a lot of attacks to be able to do that 270 damage. No Acerola in this list, surprisingly, and no buff padding. 2 cards that could be useful in a deck like this. Life Forest is helpful in my hand. I'll probably have to Judge right away. Could get a Celebi and Venusaur on the bench with Netball. I think I am going to do that since I have a double colorless in hand. So this would be a Jolteon GX deck. Not a huge fan of Jolteon GX. I did do a gameplay video of a Jolteon GX deck. So this may be just a Jolteon GX Zapdos deck. It is a very quick attacking deck, but it really can't do that much damage. They're going to pass. There's a Grass Energy, so I am going to go and get the Celebi and Venusaur. Judge will be very helpful. I'll use Adventure Bag to go and get the Choice Helmet and an Escape Board. This Absol over here makes it harder for Shaymin to retreat. Let's do that. I'm going to attach a double colorless. I'm going to save that Life Forest for now, and then I'll use Judge. There's a Judge Whistle, so I could get that back right away. And I think that is all I'm going to do. I do have the Guzma in hand for next turn. That's pretty good. Netball, if I really wanted to, I could get another Shaymin out there. I have a Grass Energy in hand. I'm going to hold off on that. No need to use it right away. So let's just pass. Jirachi wakes up. Jirachi, of course, is used for its Stellar Wish ability. My opponent probably has a Skateboard in their deck. There's a Nest Ball. They can go and get another basic Pokemon and put it on their bench. I am in a pretty good spot here, as long as my hand is not modified before I get to take my turn. I would like to knock out this Absol. Could also do Zapdos, but they are probably going to attack with Zapdos. Looks like they're going to knock out the Shaymin, no big deal. That is the problem with Shaymin, it is an easy knockout. So let's go here, I'll promote the Celebi and Venusaur. There's an Acrobike, I am going to go like so. Let's do this. I'll use Acrobike, see what's there. A Potion or a Lily. I'm going to keep the Potion. Could have taken Lily and got more cards into my hand, but I want to have healing cards in my hand. I'll just pass on using any of the other cards and then just use Pollen Hazard. So 50, so about 80 total, I believe, with the burn and poison. No longer burned. I would have liked to have kept the burn on there. It would have been knocked out. They can retreat for free with Zeraora GX's ability. They need an escape board, but this Absol actually ruins that. They probably have a switch card in hand, or they're just going to retreat. No big deal. And then do a fair amount of damage, 80. So, I am going to start healing off of Celebi and Venusaur. Just like so. And then I am going to use Netball for the Grass Energy. And then I can knock out Zapdos. Could get a Judge. My opponent only has 3 cards in their hand. Let me do this. I'll use another Acrobike. I'm actually going to put Shaymin out there. Aether Paradise Conservation Area is a great stadium card, but it also would benefit my opponent. So I'll pass on that. And then I am going to attack with Solar Beam. get the knockout. One prize card down, 5 to go. I would like to get another Celebi and Venusaur GX on my bench to start attaching energy to it. Take a look at the Jolteon GX. Maximum amount of damage it could do would be 110. Of course, my opponent has Electro Power in their deck to increase the attacks by 30. I'm feeling pretty good so far. There's a Volkner. It allows you to get a lightning energy and then an item. So maybe an escape board or a switch. Electro Power also would work. I have Guzma in hand, so that helps me. If my opponent does start to get a large hand, I can go and get Judge with that Judge Whistle. Wouldn't mind seeing a Scoop either. I know it is intriguing to take down a Tag Team GX. They're putting an escape board on Jirachi. It still won't have a free retreat cost because of the Absol on their bench. Ooh, there you go. So it actually is able to retreat for free. That is always a point of confusion for myself. So they're using Head Bolt for 80. Still have a long ways to go. Floral Heal twice. Then I can use Acro Bike. Get a Grass Energy, let's do that. I do not have another Mixed Herbs. We'll get the Grass Energy. I'll draw a card with Judge Whistle, draw a card. There's a Net Ball, so that works out. I can go and get another Celebi and Venusaur. Then attach that Grass Energy to it, then use Lily. I should have one more attack against Celebi and Venusaur before I have to use its GX attack. So there's that. Pretty good draw with that double colorless. Let's go like so, 150, or I could do this. I'm actually going to use Pollen Hazard. Inflict some special conditions, that way if they did want to attack, they may end up doing damage against themselves. Plus, then I can use Solar Beam next turn and knock out the Jolteon GX. They can, of course, retreat for free, but they would need a switch card in hand to be able to put Jolteon GX back into the active Pokemon spot. Let's take a look at this escape board. And then let's take a look at this Absol. My opponent is getting a fairly large hand, so they're just going to retreat the Jolteon, go ahead and attack with the Zapdos. 80 damage, so I can continue to heal damage from the Celebi and Venusaur. They would need to do a lot of damage. So what is that, 180? They would need 3 Electro Powers in their hand to be able to knock out Celebi and Venusaur. Let's start doing this. Attach there. Judge Whistle wouldn't be bad. See what I get. Maybe a healing card. Let's actually go like this. Put a Judge card. I want to get my opponent's hand size down a little bit. There it goes. And then I am going to use Judge. Yes. Reduce the size of my opponent's hand by 2, I believe. And 2 mixed herbs is ideal, so I'll use 2 of those and heal a bunch of damage from Celebi and Venusaur. I could put out the Aether Paradise Conservation Area. I'm going to hold off on that still. And then I'll just use Solar Beam. There's the knockout. Have that grass energy in hand as well to get Celebi and Venusaur set up. Next turn. Still feeling pretty confident. That is why I do prefer the Pikachu and Zekrom GX deck over the Jolteon GX one. Jolteon just can't do enough damage when attacking. So 4 to 5 prize cards. I'm ahead by 1. I just don't think my opponent can handle this Celebi and Venusaur. And what is the HP here? 190. So if I was able to top deck a Choice Band, I could knock out the Zeraora in one attack. I'd have to use the GX attack on Celebi and Venusaur, which I really wouldn't want to do. And there is the Pikachu and Zekrom. That's a little bit late to the party. I could also just Guzma this up, and before my opponent could get the Pikachu and Zekrom set up, I could actually knock it out. Unless they had something like Tapu Koko Prism Star in their deck and they haven't actually used it yet. They could put that on the bench, accelerate 2 energy into play. I still think that I should be able to knock out this Pikachu and Zekrom pretty quickly. Even then, it's going to be hard for my opponent to knock out Celebi and Venusaur. Let's see what they do here. They're retreating that. They're going to use another Stellar Wish, and then they may use a switch card. Can't use Guzma since they used Lily. They have a full bench. There's Cynthia for next turn if they'd like. I'm assuming they're just going to pass now. Jirachi will be knocked out. They are going to use an escape rope. That doesn't really matter too much for myself. Do they want to get their Jolteon GX knocked out? Looks like they do. They're using Viridian Forest. Discard 1 from your hand and go and get a basic energy. Let's see what they are going to do. They're going to start getting this Pikachu and Zekrom set up. 110. There's a Bill's Analysis. So first thing I'm going to do is heal damage on the Celebi and Venusaur. I'm going to attach a Grass Energy here. And then I will use Bill's Analysis. I could use Judge Whistle. Gardenia wouldn't be bad for next turn. Guzma wouldn't be too bad either. So I am going to use the Judge Whistle. Three copies of Potion in the deck. How many have I used so far? Just 1. So I am going to draw a card. Let's do it. Double colorless. Now, I can do 150. That's 120. I am going to get this out of here. And I should still be able to knock out the Jolteon. So let's do Solar Beam. Get the knockout. 2 prize cards remaining. I have 2 Guzma in hand. So close to being able to win this game. If I was able to get Choice Band into my hand, I could do a fair amount of damage. I can do 180 with the GX attack, but I won't be able to knock out Pikachu and Zekrom or the Zeraora. There's a Choice Band from my opponent. They're going to use Stellar Wish twice again. It'd actually be ideal if they put this Celebi and Venusaur into the active. Top deck that Choice Band, and that would be game. I don't believe I've used Choice Band or discarded it. This game is taking about 20 minutes, just like I thought. May only be able to get 2 total games in this video, otherwise it's going to be a pretty long one. It's pretty easy to identify the strategy with this one. So there's a Volkner. Such a useful supporter card for the Pikachu and Zekrom Zapdos deck. Nest Ball and a Lightning Energy. I wonder if they can go and get the Tapu Koko Prism Star. I sure hope not. Oh boy, they're going to accelerate energy into play. They're going to get the Pikachu and Zekrom GX set up. Uh-oh. Like I said, I have Guzma in hand. But my opponent doesn't have anything that has 180 for the HP that is a GX. What are they going to do? They might not be able to retreat the Jirachi, and they are going to retreat it. Can they knock out Celebi and Venusaur GX right here? They're going to use his GX attack and get the knockout. I think I might be able to win this one. It all depends on what happens with Celebi and Venusaur. I am going to attach... I have Guzma, so I don't want to attach any energy. I'm just going to use Solar Beam is what I'm going to do. If I use Pollen Hazard, it'll do 80 damage. They can retreat it, not a problem. I want to get the maximum amount of damage on Pikachu and Zekrom. So 180 to 150, I would be able to get the knockout next turn if my opponent keeps that Pikachu and Zekrom. Now they are going to Guzma up something else. So we'll see what happens here. If they leave Celebi and Venusaur on the bench, that may be better for myself. They're going to get the Aether Paradise out of there, more than likely, with the Thunder Mountain Prism Star. What did they just put down? Another Pikachu and Zekrom? Yes. Energy Switch. If they actually put this one to the active, that's game over. If they don't Guzma up this one. So it does look like I won the game here. They'll get the knockout on Shaman. No big deal. Well played by my opponent. Well played. Just a little bit too late by my opponent. I'll get this one. Put that up there. And then I'm going to attach an additional grass there. That way on its GX attack I can actually shuffle all the cards back into my deck. And there is the victory. So a good win, game 1. Let's move on to game 2. See how it goes. My opponent just had their Pikachu and Zekrom set up a little bit too late. It definitely worked out for them with the Tapu Koko Prism Star. Once they put that Pikachu and Zekrom out there, they started attacking pretty quickly with it. Looking for opponent. And I guess the one reason Acerola wouldn't be in this deck is because it does require a lot of energy on Celebi and Venusaur to attack. So if you use Acerola, it's going to take a while to set up that card again. This might be a Blacephalon GX deck. If it is, I'm in some trouble. There's a Shaman to start. I will get a peek at my opponent's deck since they had to take a mulligan. Eevee Snorlax on the deck box. So this is a little bit of a rogue deck. Blaziken here, and then Silvally and Pidgeotto. It still is a fire type deck, which will be a problem. Both Shaman and Celebi and Venusaur, weak to fire type Pokemon. This may be a loss, but we'll see. That's why you always battle. Who knows? Ooh, yes to rest. Another Shaman, just in case I have my hand modified. So this is an Eevee and Snorlax GX. That is their active Pokemon right now. So 120 is what it's going to do. Then 210 is its GX attack. So can't knock out Celebi and Venusaur in one attack. And 120 is what it's going to normally do. Lots of full art trainer cards I see discarded. This is a little bit of a rogue deck. I do like these full art GX from the Tag Team GX tins. Bought several of the Pikachu and Zekrom ones. That is easily the best. Ooh, there's Kiawe. They're just going to get Eevee and Snorlax set up right away. Looks to be the case. But Pikachu and Zekrom GX is the best tag team in my opinion, at least so far. There's a Celebi and Venusaur. That's fine if they want to knock out the Shaman. Bill's Analysis I could use. Let's see if I can go and get another Shaman. There's all three I have in my deck are in play now. Silvally, wouldn't mind Guzma that up there, but I can't do that. I could Lily for what, 3? Might as well. Escape Board helps. I could put that on Shaman and retreat it for free. 120 is what it will do when attacking. I'm actually going to just have the Shaman get knocked out, I think. I'll pass there. Let my opponent knock out the Shaman. Can't do much with Kiawe unless you have a way to discard the energy. I built a Reshiram GX Ho-Oh GX deck. Did very well at a league challenge with it. What are they going to get out there now? They're going to exchange the type null for Silvally, probably. There it is. Your basic Pokemon in play have a free retreat cost. Great for Snorlax. It has a 4 colorless energy retreat. Erica's Hospitality there. Drawing 4 cards into their hand. There's 120. Now I will promote the Celebi and Venusaur. And then Confuse, Poison, and Burn Eevee and Snorlax. Go like so. I could use Judge. My opponent has 5 cards in their hand. I'll use Bill's Analysis. See what's out there. Let's do that. And then I'll get a Guzma. Have lots of options for supporters in my hand. Skateboard, I could put on one of these Shaman. Gives it a free retreat cost. Then I'll use Pollen Hazard. Do 80 damage. Stay burned. Let's see. Nope. The burn is removed. Just 10 damage between turns with the poison. That poison will help out. If I want to, I could knock out the Eevee and Snorlax next turn with Celebi and Venusaur's GX attack. It may be worth it, but I can heal a lot of damage with cards in my hand. Nest Ball to get a basic on the bench. And this deck that I'm facing, I have not faced anything like it before, so I'm not even sure what Blaziken GX does, other than the fact it is a Fire-type Pokemon, which is super effective against my deck. Silvally, there's a look at what it does. What is its weakness? Fighting. Same goes for Eevee and Snorlax. Tate and Liza, just getting 5 new cards into their hand. And hopefully they do not attack or are unable to attack. Doing 30 damage. Looks like they're going to switch up something. The Pidgey. And then they're going to retreat it for free, removing these special conditions. My opponent must be thinking of what to do. Dump Truck Press. 90, so I can heal that damage right away. 180 is all that I could do with an attack unless I was able to get a Choice Band. So let's first use Floral Heal twice. .210 is what they could do with their GX attacks, so they can't knock out Celebi and Venusaur right away. Could use Judge. Gardenia I could also use. Lily wouldn't be bad. I am going to attach an energy here. Gardenia, is it worth it to remove the remaining damage? They are just going to retreat more than likely. Do the same thing. Boy, oh boy. In a tough spot here. If I was able to get that Choice Band, I might try and risk it. This heals 90 damage. Let's do it. Just get the damage down to 0. And let's use Judge to try and get that Choice Band. Let's go like this. Nest Ball. Let's get the Celebi and Venusaur second one on the bench to try and start to set it up. And then I can either Lily for 3 or Judge for 4. Let's Lily. Choice Band? Ooh. Didn't get it, so then I'll just use Solar Beam. So close to knocking it out. But no damage on my Pokemon. I did give up that prize card, allowing Shaman to be knocked out early. There's Pidgeotto, a good ability on this card. They're going to use its ability right away. If they have a rare candy, they could get Blaziken out there pretty quickly. And that would cause trouble for Celebi and Venusaur. 2 Judge in my hand now, plus the Gardenia still. I wanted to keep those supporters there, so even though I was only able to get 3 cards instead of 4 by using Lily as opposed to Judge, it was worth it to keep these supporters. I don't know why they're putting buff padding out there unless they're going to add cards into their hand. Buff padding would be pretty good on something like Celebi and Venusaur. The friend that I mentioned in the open of this video is using buff padding in their deck, making it that much harder to take down Celebi and Venusaur. Not exactly sure what they're going to do. They just don't have anything set up. Now they may be retreating for Silvally. 120 is what it can do. If that is the case, I can still Guzma up the Shaman, retreated for free, and then attack Eevee and Snorlax again. It just depends on what my opponent does. They are going to attack with Silvally. I'm going to get the knockout on the Eevee and Snorlax. And they do have Lily in their hand. That's why they put that buff padding on the Eevee Snorlax. Turbo Drive 120, they're going to accelerate an energy, potentially, doesn't look like they will. So then I can remove a lot of damage. Celebi and Venusaur. Like so. Plus use the potion. Then I'm going to Guzma up the Eevee and Snorlax and get the knockout. That's why you have a skateboard, allowing Shaman to retreat for free. There's the retreat. Attach the grass energy to Celebi and Venusaur. And then I'll get the knockout using Solar Beam. 3 prize cards I'll take. 1, 2, and 3. Double colorless, excellent. Erica's Hospitality, another good one. So a pretty good draw for prize cards. With that double colorless in hand, the second Celebi and Venusaur is ready to attack next turn. 120 on that Silvally just isn't enough. Do they have Rare Candy in hand? Are they going to be able to knock out Celebi and Venusaur right here? No Guzma in hand. They're going to try and get Eevee and Snorlax set up again. Do they have another Kiawe? Are they going to go right back to the well and get energy on Eevee and Snorlax? Airmail. Let's see, 1 Guzma I have used so far. 4 in the deck. That is going to be a supporter that I'm going to miss sorely when rotation time comes in August. Now if I was able to get that Choice Band into my hand, I could do a fair amount of damage. So 110 is all it can do. It will accelerate an energy to the Eevee and Snorlax. So there's a Judge Whistle. Let's first heal damage. Double colorless there. Use the Judge Whistle just to draw a card. I have 2 Judge in my hand. Lily doesn't do anything for me. Could use Gardenia. Heal 80 damage. I think that is what I'm going to do. And then I am going to use Pollen Hazard. That does 80 just because my opponent needs 2 energy on Eevee and Snorlax to attack. Pollen Hazard plus Solar Beam will knock out Silvally. Hopefully they will stay burned. So burn 20 between turns, poison 10. Poison just stays on there. Burn, if you get a heads when flipping a coin, then the burn is removed. Let's see what my opponent can do. They are going to use Acerola, just pick up that Silvally, no big deal. If I ever get that Choice Band, then I can knock out some things. Not exactly sure what they're doing here, because they only have 2 energy on it. They may be trying to use Cheer Up. Ooh, there is the double colorless, wasn't expecting that. They can do 210, but then I can come back and use Celebi and Venusaur's GX attack if I'd like. Could attach another Grass Energy to it and then just retrieve all of these cards and put them back into my deck. We will see. Still surprised they have not utilized the Blaziken GX. And there is the Blaziken. They must have a Rare Candy in hand, I would think. They're going to go and get it with Ultra Ball. There is the rare candy. I'll have to take a look at this Blaziken. Explosive Kick. Will definitely knock out Celebi and Venusaur. What's the HP here? 240. Uh-oh. I am in some trouble. Well, if I was to get a Choice Band, it would work out. At least I have 2 Celebi and Venusaur set up. So there's that. Get the Grass Energy on here. And then what I'm going to do is I could either use Judge or Lily. Lily wouldn't do much. Sort of like the fact that Guzma is in my hand. Let's see. I really only need... I might be doing something a little bit risky here. I think I'm going to try and knock out this Pidgeotto. That way, all I need is 2 prize cards to win the game instead of 3. Or I could just go ahead and attack this Eevee and Snorlax and then Guzma it up. I think that is the path that I'm going to follow. So I am going to use Lily for 1. That actually helped. Potion here. And then I'll just do 150 damage. And just soften up this Eevee and Snorlax. I have Guzma, and I have 2 Celebi and Venusaur set up. So even if Celebi and Venusaur of my own gets knocked out, I can Guzma up that Eevee and Snorlax and win the game. So as long as my hand is not modified, I think this one is in the bag. Plus that free retreat cost on Shaman helps with the escape board. No energy on Blaziken. It only can do 120 with Slash. So Airmail. Unless my opponent has another Acerola, which is possible. They've used one so far. Weakness policy. They're just trying to use Lily, my guess would be. Trying to get cards out of their hand. Because what is Pidgeotto weak to? Lightning. This isn't a Pikachu and Zekrom deck, that's for sure. Or Zapdos. Jolteon on GX. I am set up pretty well. Maybe my opponent will just scoop. There is a Guzma, so that's alright. What are they going to Guzma up? The Shaman? Are they going to switch something back out and just get the knockout? Looks like they are. I don't know exactly what they're doing. I'll just promote the Celebi and Venusaur and get the knockout. It really doesn't matter. So my opponent may just scoop here. And that is 2-0 with this particular deck. 2 long battles. But a pretty fun deck to play overall. Healing damage every single turn and just knocking out your opponent's Pokemon. Doing some major damage when attacking. I could have done even more damage if I would have had Choice Band. So let's just promote whatever one. I will use... There it is there. There's the one that I was hoping for the whole time. Could use Erica's Hospitality. Hope for another Grass Energy. Did get the Grass Energy. Nice. I'll go like that, and then I can actually use Evergreen GX. And that would be the game. So a good way to end this video. Thanks everyone for watching. I can take a look at the deck checklist one more time. And then this video will conclude. And as always, if you have any suggestions for me on decks that you would like me to battle with, please let me know. Still haven't looked too closely at Unbroken Bonds. I hope to open up a booster box a couple of days early. I'm thinking this Wednesday I'll have the video up. A friend of mine is actually getting 3 boxes for me a little bit early. Let's head on over to the deck manager. So pretty straightforward with the strategy here. So thanks everyone for watching. As always, before you go, make sure to check out all the links in the description of this video, including links to my blog, Facebook, and Twitter pages. So thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.